All right, being after 2:15, Policy and Governance Special Meeting. All three districts are represented, properly posted on April 26th. Entertain a motion to discuss some possible action regarding approval of minutes for April 26th. I think I got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And 2 is similar to 5, however we want to work with it. Discussion possible action regarding overview of program and ARPA program governances, funds request, authorization process, funds management, and subrecipient management with Accenture. And last go around, the top thing was the application. There's been some changes. Any discussion?
Seeing none. So,
Is this 2 or 5?
Well, do you want to discuss that under 2 or 5?
kick it to 5.
Kick it to 5. All right. No, nothing on item 2. 3 and 4 will be reviewed later. Item 5, discussion and possible action regarding policies, processes, procedures related to planning, oversight, and administration of Oklahoma County's ARPA funding allocation, grant funding opportunities, or other state, federal funds identified by the county or Accenture to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic and its economic effects to Oklahoma County. And it's open.
All right, so as we were looking at this, it dawned on me that we probably need to have 2 forms, an internal form and an external form. And some of the suggested changes here, I think that Stephen sent us individually, are geared towards that internal form. He made it to the form that we had as a template, which includes, so none of the intake form upfront messaging, in my opinion, needs to be there. That would be more geared towards to the general public. The sections that have to do with the disclaimers, where various entities are submitting proposals, understand that they would be on the hook for disallowed costs. That's just submitting the grant or submitting the proposal isn't a guarantee of funding, et cetera. That they have to, the project would have to meet with the rules. None of that needs to be on the in-house county version. The department director doesn't have the authority anyway, really, in that regard. So I don't think we need to have that in here. Some of the information requested, helping disadvantaged communities, economic benefit, et cetera. While we might have an idea upon the submission by one of our departments or one of our other elected officials' offices, Accenture should really help further define that. And I think they will, that, or at least that's my hope. As we're getting through this process, they'll have more access to data because a lot of that data would be census tract based, et cetera. So with regard to the form, I would just suggest do an internal, external form. Where some of that verbiage is not on there.
I can see where that would be relevant, just because some of the changes that I requested were certainly aimed more on an external application than it would be on an internal application. So I don't have an issue with that as long as we do not, as long as we're not slowing the process down. And
Yeah,
from what
Miles, I don't think
understand,
it
they're ready
would
to go.
be.
they're pretty much ready to go, except for the whatever change we came up with today. I
Well-
do, just so you're aware, I do like the statement of just because you apply for funding doesn't mean that you're going to get it. I know it's internal, I get it, but I don't want. That just makes me, it gives me warm fuzzies. How about that?
All right. I'm fine with that. You want to leave that one on?
I
Think
do
the
wanna
other-
leave that one alone.
My,
Your other one, I don't care.
my understanding from Tuesday's discussion, we were wanting to really get the internal application
Yeah.
up front and get it started. So if we take the items for the external application aside, are we fine with doing an internal application for the month of May/June?
Yes, all we had was one application, and so that was applicable to both what would have been external applicants and internal. What I want to do is just clean up the form, with the exception of just because you hit the submit on this, doesn't guarantee you're getting funding on the internal. Yeah, I'm fine. I think we need to get moving. Yeah.
So Michael, you're saying that you envisioned a different, application altogether for an external. Is that the way I understand what you're saying?
Well, I would say the additional wording for external.
Okay. Yeah, okay. That's fine.
I think what we have here is the external form, and we take off the beginning section and we take off the disclaimer section, but for the one that Miles wants to leave on, and we have our internal form.
All right, IT, you got that? With that in mind, do we want to entertain a motion to recommend that for,
Publishing?
well, BOCC, or is that something that, since it's internal, we can just start moving forward, or?
I think we were given the role as program administrator, and
They're gonna vote on.
this
that.
is, they're gonna,
Funds are gonna be
right.
dumped out. I don't see the process of them needing to be in, but
All right, so then I'll entertain a motion to,
publish as suggested changes are made.
for the internal application.
Second.
yes.
All right,
Well, you
there's a
haven't
motion
voted
and a couple seconds.
I motion.
All those,
Yeah.
all those in favor say
Okay.
aye. Aye.
Sorry.
I thought you were making the motion.
Yeah, I
Michael.
did too.
Well, I entertained a motion,
Oh,
but
sorry.
some translated that otherwise. All right. Now, the timeline and window for that, the consultants referenced maybe a May 31st deadline, and then items, I want to say June 14th, was that our regular P&G meeting?
Flag Day?
Those being placed in front of us at that time to be considered or recommended?
I favor scenario one as laid out by,
Well, for the purpose of
June
our
14th.
guests, would you mention what scenario one is for us?
yes, scenario one would be a May 20th submission deadline, related to current general fund items only. It would allow 2 weeks to submit the proposals. They essentially are suggesting we meet on 5/25 to evaluate, and a possible BOCC meeting on 5/27 to approve any recommendations we might have. And I think that the goal there might be to have an idea of what funding sources, funding might come from ARPA ahead of our general fund budget finalization.
Finalization for the general fund budget doesn't happen until September, so technically.
Well, you want to take that chance, go right ahead.
So we're open. 1, 2. So are we having, help me out here. We have BOCC scheduled on June 1.
What did you ask, Moss?
June 1, BOCC. It's on a Wednesday. It's in the middle of the week. So the question is,
No. Yeah, it would be the next Monday.
All right, so hypothetically, if I'm walking through one of those applications for an office or a department, and the consultants do some kind of workshop for offices and departments for those having problems walking through the application process. But then the deadline's the 20th. And then we would do a special P and G on the 25th with hypothetically a special BOCC prior to the 31st, or they're saying by the 27th. And I guess we could tweak the dates if need be, but
yeah, that's, so I'm Dane, are you guys going to be able to go live Monday? That tells me no.
Maybe. Maybe.
Okay.
Bob's asking me if somebody can guide him on what's the external parts and what's the internal parts. What parts? If you guys can do that, then yeah, internally, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, the form's done.
I'm only talking internal.
Yeah, the form's done.
External will-
We strip out the parts that don't need to be there. I would think. Yeah, I would think so. It's already on InfoZone.
Okay. So giving the departments 4 weeks, 20 days, realizing that we're giving them about 36 hours notice to start cranking away on the second. I'm really wanting to, I'm thinking about shooting for a P&G on the first and then maybe a special on the third for BOCC. The only difference there, Joe, is a week between what I'm saying and what you're saying. And I know my boss is probably similar to yours in this situation, to where they would like to get it out sooner than later. Thoughts? I mean, quite frankly, I'd rather have a P&G on the 31st myself. Shut it down, shut the application process down on the 27th, policy and governance on the 31st. That literally puts us about 4 days apart. But it gives them 4 solid weeks to make application. And that is, nope, that doesn't qualify, but if you tweak it this way, maybe it will. Because we're gonna ask Accenture to do a bunch of that, right? So, not knowing the amount that we're about to flood them with.
Well, I think right there,
I mean, I know there's a little bit.
there are
of
those
pre-planning going.
items, I think that the more aggressive timeline, Miles, and I might not be, the more aggressive timeline, I think, has to do with those items that have typically been funded out of our normal general fund.
Right. Which
Not
is kind
a-
of the pre-planning stuff. Right.
Not a, oh, a project that we've not done before, or perhaps a capital expenditure, whether it's IT related or otherwise, right? And I think the more aggressive schedule really meets, kind of would give BET and others a better idea of what might be available in the general fund, because it's been determined that ARPA dollars can be used. But if you want to give a little more time, then that's fine with me.
I mean, my thought on BET has been from the second that we accepted the estimate of needs is I think we should do a flat budget, fund the things that need to be funded on an increased level, and let's reassess this in September, because with June 28th looming out there, there are a lot of big things happening on that date that I wasn't exactly.
But a flat, and maybe my understanding of how this works is not correct, but a flat
Me too.
budget would encompass some of those items that might otherwise be funded
Right,
through ARPA.
right,
And
and
I
it wouldn't
think-
affect that. It wouldn't affect
Well,
that
and I
part.
think that's.
But there's the raise part in there. So like the raise for the law enforcement parts, that is in ARPA rules and stuff like that. So flat is figurative at some point, because even last year when we did a flat budget, we still gave 3% and then moved forward and said, we'll readjust with the 2 later. So
Recall, and I don't know, and the reason I'm probably, I think option one, the language in the CARES money not previously budgeted for. And I don't recall that being in this
Yeah, it
language,
doesn't
but
exist in ARPA.
we would need to get,
Yeah.
but,
I don't recall that in any of the stuff I've read, but that's,
so if you want to wait, and give them more time, that's fine. We can wait.
you said 27th and I'm saying 1st, so we're talking 4 days. And 2 of them aren't even usable. So we're literally over 2 days, and I don't care either way. Michael, break the tie, pick something. Might ask the clerk what's easier. Make sure availability and everything exists.
So you're looking at PNG on the 31st, BOCC on the 1st.
Second would be probably my thought about it, but getting people to show up on a Friday is cumbersome sometimes. This is gonna, hold on. 30th is Memorial Day.
It is. What if we, let me throw out another scenario. What if we close the process the 25th, and then we meet on the 1st to determine what needs to move forward to the commissioner meeting on the 6th?
Okay.
Okay, what did I just say?
25th, 1st, and 6th.
Okay, 25th,
Which is essentially,
1st, and 6th.
you were saying close on 24th, right, Joe?
The 20,
You were saying close on 23rd or 24th, meet on 25th, and then BOCC on 27th. So yeah, that's fine. I like 25th and 1st because
okay.
the 27th is. I knew Memorial Day was in there somewhere.
All right, I will move that the internal application process be open until the 25th. Those items then would be presented to the P&G special on the 1st of June. And then any recommendations would go to the June 6th BOCC meeting. Pardon? It's
Item
part of 5.
5. And I'm seconding.
Is that a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
All right, Miles,
Yes, sir.
on the intake form, go back to it for just a second.
Right.
Have you got it with you?
I don't.
Do you have it, Michael?
I
Hold
didn't.
on, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Shoot.
You know, down there in the disclaimers, we understand that this is not a guarantee of funding.
Right.
I was looking a little bit closer at the introductory language at the top of the form. It says, recommendation of a proposal by the Policy and Governance Committee is not a guarantee of funding. All funding must be approved. So I'm just going to put up there.
Miles wants this. For warm and fuzzies.
How about just submittal and recommendation of a submittal to and a recommendation of the proposal by the Policy and Governance is not a guarantee of thing. Then we can just delete that whole disclaimer section.
Okay.
And I'll get this to Bob.
That's fine.
Okay. All right.
All right, under item 5, was there any other items we need to review on?
No, sure. Not to my knowledge. If there's nothing else. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye.